This video will want to make you work hard as a homemaker, not because you'll have more motivation, discipline, or willpower, but because something inside you will shift. Once you see the eternal weight of what you're really doing in your home, you won't have to force yourself to work hard. You will long to. The laundry, the dishes, the stories, the schedules, they stop being drudgery when you realize they are the work of eternity. In this video, I'm going to help you reframe your entire perspective on homemaking so that instead of dragging yourself through your day, you rise each morning with purpose, clarity, and a deep desire to pour out love into your home. Stay tuned until the end because I'll be sharing one of the most freeing mindset shifts that helped me stop being a slave to my to-do list and start submitting to what the Lord had in store for me instead. This is the secret to remaining joyful even when there's so much to be done in a day. If you're new here, I'm Kiri and I help Christian homemakers who are living in a fog of exhaustion and stress to become the patient, peaceful mother and wife they've always dreamt of being. I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. And if you feel like you need a little extra help being intentional about your homemaking, I'd love for you to join my free workshop below. It's for those homemakers who are tired of living in survival mode and want to embrace peace and joy-filled homemaking this week. If you wake up dreading the day, dragging your feet through your chores, repeating the same tasks over and over again, maybe it's not because you're overwhelmed or lazy or burnt out or whatever other things you're saying about yourself. Maybe it's because you've forgotten your why. If you wake up and dread the day because you're thinking about all the things you have to do, all the tasks, folding laundry, cooking dinner, reading the same books over and over again to your children, it will feel like drudgery. But if you wake up knowing that the work you pour into your home has an eternal ripple effect and that you're creating the memories your children will have forever and that you're shaping eternal souls, you won't even need willpower to get out of bed in the morning and work hard all day long. You will naturally want to. When you're folding laundry, you'll remember this isn't just laundry. This is my daughter's favorite dress for twirling. This is the sleep sack that my toddler drags to every room. These are the clothes my husband wears to provide for us. Every fold becomes an act of love and an offering to the Lord. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men." Homemaking is not menial. It's a ministry. Your ministry of home. You're shaping eternal souls. You're creating memories your children will carry into their own home. When you see your work through the lens of kingdom work, you won't need to conjure up willpower. You'll want to serve your family and your home so sacrificially because you know you're actually serving the Lord. And one of the most powerful ways to reinforce that eternal mindset is to shape your home intentionally so that it reminds you and everyone in it of the fruit in doing the will of God. So in order to be more intentional, lately, I have been intentional about what I use in my kitchen, making sure that the tools I'm using and everything that I'm using in the kitchen are good quality and healthy for my family.
If you don't know, Caraway is a non-toxic kitchenware brand that offers high quality kitchen essentials. And they have totally upgraded my cooking experience. I'm so excited about these pots and pans that I'm going to tell you about, and I'm going to show you how I use them. I love them, but over 70% of frying pans sold in America contain Teflon. But Caraway cookware is non-toxic while still being non-stick. So I'm not sure if you know this, but forever chemicals like Teflon can take decades to leave our body, potentially causing health risks like cancer or respiratory issues. And so I work really hard in my kitchen to cook as healthy as possible. And I just don't like the idea of taking that healthy food and then just adding a bunch of chemicals to it from the cookware that I'm using. So I love the peace of mind when I use Caraway that I'm cooking with the safest materials for my family. And that's part of stewarding our homes well, is making sure that we're using things that are safe for our family, right? So cooking with Caraway has also inspired me to cook even more than before because it's just so easy to clean and they're beautiful. So that's one of the things that makes stewarding your home well and working hard in the home so much easier is when you actually have the right tools to do the job and things that you enjoy working with. So it's a simple reminder that even the tools I use can help me work in my home with more joy. So if you're like me and you're trying to switch over to buying things that are quality and things that will last for years and years, I would really recommend Caraway. I love the idea of buying things that will stay in the family for years, like how things used to be made. So if something makes your daily work easier and more joyful, then it's definitely worth considering. So I'd recommend getting the cookware set since you'll save 20% by bundling all the pots and pans together, including the lids. Plus, you can stack my discount code Homemakers10 and get an additional 10% off your set. So you can use my code and save on all their products site-wide. So click or screenshot the code on the screen or in the description below for when you're checking out so that you can get that discount.
When your atmosphere aligns with your mission, your home stops draining you and it starts restoring you. My kids won't remember how often I vacuumed, but they will remember the smell of cinnamon pancakes on Sunday mornings, or the way Frank Sinatra sang through the kitchen right before Daddy walked through the door, or the soft light and smell of the same candle I lit every afternoon. These little things aren't insignificant. They are the memories that will shape how your children remember home growing up. Regardless of whether you also work outside the home as well as in the home, you're still a homemaker. And the beautiful thing about this role is that you get to create the exact atmosphere you want. So one morning I was working out and the little studio that I go to plays the worst music. And I remember thinking, wow, it would be so horrible to have to work here and listen to this all day long. Then I reflected on how I got to work at home and literally create the exact work and home environment I want. What a blessing is that? But creating a beautiful home isn't just about candles and music. You were never meant to white knuckle your way through homemaking. God designed this life to be full of beauty, laughter, music, joy. I used to take everything so seriously, and this led me to being constantly annoyed with my family. My husband actually gave me this advice one day when I was annoyed that he wasn't listening to me when I was talking to him. I probably said something like, "Are you even listening to me right now?" And on this particular day, he had the best response. He said, "Hey, next time you want to say that, try this instead. Be playful." And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm irritated. You're not paying attention to me." He said, "Walk up to me, take my face into your hands, and say, 'Hey, can't you see I'm talking?' in a playful tone." Immediately, I knew he was right. Was he being rude for not listening to me? Yeah. Was I being rude in the way that I was admonishing him? Also, yes. There's always a more joyful and effective way to get the result that you want, and usually it's just by being playful. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope." The joyful homemaker builds a joyful home, and that joy becomes the atmosphere your family grows up in. The secret to remaining joyful when there's so much to be done in a day is not letting urgent matters crowd out eternal matters. So you need to know how to prioritize. Knowing when you can check a house cleaning task or cooking dinner off your to-do list is easy, and it's also really satisfying. It's either done or it's not. The thrill of checking that task off a to-do list is the best feeling, I know. But how do you measure whether your child's heart has been discipled today? Whether they feel loved and connected to you? That's not something that you can just check off a list, is it? This is something you feel. It's this organic relationship that, well, yes, you can be intentional about. It's not something you can just check off a list. It's all in, heart engaging, spirit led work. I used to structure my whole day around tasks: clean the toilet, vacuum the floors, cook dinner. And I knew exactly how long each of those tasks would take, down to the very minute. But pouring into my children's hearts, that's a bit more ambiguous. Some days, 20 minutes was enough. Other days, it took all morning. So I'd put it off. I'd get all my concrete tasks done first. I defaulted to what I could measure and check off my list. And I think this is one of the hangups that many Christian mothers have. It's not that they don't understand their priorities, but that it's hard to prioritize their top priorities because usually the things that are the most important are not necessarily things you can measure. For example, let's say today you need to vacuum the floors and clean the toilets. The floors may take 30 minutes. Cleaning the toilets may take 15. So it's easy to take the low-hanging fruit like this and put it at the top of your list so that you can get a couple quick wins right off the bat. because you're like, okay, I can just get this done in 45 minutes. So I'm just going to get this done. And then I'll have the rest of the time to steward the hearts of my family and spend quality time with my children or husband or whoever. Because that quality time, stewarding the hearts of your family, that's not concrete. Especially with young children. You don't know how long it's going to take you to fill up their little cups. You can prioritize maybe 20 minutes thinking that's going to be enough. But on this particular day, maybe that's nowhere near enough. And you're like, okay, well, now I have all these other things that I know exactly how long they're going to take. So I'm just going to get those done and checked off my list. So you see the dilemma here and you see how it makes it difficult to prioritize as a homemaker. Proverbs 31 says, "She looks well to the ways of her household." That doesn't just mean cleaning, it means spiritual, emotional stewardship. You have to know your true priorities. You need to know what you care about. Mine are discipling my children, serving my family with love, and keeping everyone healthy and safe. Everything else is just a bonus. But even with the right atmosphere and the right priorities, there's one more ingredient that changes everything. If your to-do list is your master, you'll be a slave to your list instead of a servant to your family. But if the Holy Spirit is your guide, you'll always have enough time for what matters most. I used to be so rigid. I planned the week down to the exact amount of muffins each person was supposed to have for breakfast that week. But humans don't work like that, right? Even my husband wasn't safe from my muffin math. He was only allowed to eat his ration, and any more than that would totally derail my workflow. Then someone would inevitably eat more than their ration one day, and I'd get so frustrated because my whole rhythm was thrown off then. I'd spiral into thinking, well, now I have to make another batch, and when am I going to do that? Or, well, now someone's going to have to go without one tomorrow. Great. But now I make the muffins, and I let them last however long they're going to last. Because I finally understand my job is to steward, not control. I have rough plans for what I'll make later in the week if the muffins don't, in fact, last. But the point isn't that my family just has food to eat. It's that they feel welcome and loved through the food that I prepare for them. Proverbs 16:9 says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." Planning is good. We should always plan. But we should also hold those plans loosely and be open to what the Lord has for us. Remember that when you're stewarding the hearts of your family, to go with the flow and to trust that the Lord will give you all the time you need to get whatever He wants you to get done, done. So if pouring into your family today takes 30 minutes longer than expected, and that means you don't have time to get the vacuuming done, as frustrating as it is, and as difficult as it may be to go to bed knowing, oh, I still have the house to vacuum, just putting that in the Lord's hands and saying, okay, He'll give me the time tomorrow or whenever it needs to be done. And simply releasing and submitting your time to the Lord can be so honoring to both God and your family. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a stricter schedule or a better routine. You need to see your work for what it is, a ministry, kingdom work. You need to remember who you're doing it for. And if you're ready to stop living like a burned out taskmaster in your own home and start becoming the calm, joyful homemaker that you so long to be, I would love to invite you again to my free homemaking workshop. It's linked below, and it just might be the turning point that you've been praying for. And if you're interested in why what you think is laziness as a homemaker isn't actually laziness, click on this next video.